Daddy Vic, deeply awake. I changed my attire from my poncho to cover up these because just that's my top today. You know, we have to be a little bit more circumspect than that. I wanted to show you a couple features in my home. I haven't done that. I changed things around a little bit. So there's Grandpa. I always have Grandpa next to me. Oops, wait. I always have Grandpa next to me. And this is a poem by Roy Rogers, I think, about thanks. You know, that we got pots on the stove with leftovers and dishes in the sink, and we're among friends, so we're pretty rich, so fancy that. And there's my dad holding an alligator. He got a certificate of bravery for that. Went down to an alligator farm. It's a baby one, but still, come on now. Come on now. How many people would have that kind of bravery? My pink Buddha, 111. And then my shell that I think is from Diane, but I don't know. And then the thankfully fake plant. Finish it off with this. This is a beautiful, I'm pointing on my screen. How dumb. That's a beautiful embroidered gift that I got from my friend Linda, who I call Grandma Linda. And it says, love grows here. Oh, it's so sweet. And then that's my all-seeing, what the fuck are you guys up to? This is nonsense. That's that guy. He goes, just looks at everything. The all-seeing one. All right then. At least you don't have a mouth. I don't have to listen to your comments. Yay. Anyway. So I'm riffing because I'm just settling into this new thing, and it's just like, I feel such relief. I feel so good. And then as I'm sitting down, they said, you know, the Son of Antares, that's a kind of an important piece to all this. It ties a lot of stuff together, including the quasar thing, and then that EMF or EMP hint when I had my Dolomite episode. And what they did, they keep inserting what they did with me up at Lookout, where the generator banged and everything went kind of weird. And then I could change things different colors for a little while after that. What about all that? It ties together with the Son of Antares, that vision I had of a quasar, April 28th, 2012. That's what I've settled on. Fuck it. At 3 a.m. Probably 3:30. Probably. Maybe even 3:45. Ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, I think I'll take that one. 3:45. I need to do that because I was born at 5:43. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, the Pisces one, the time was 5:43. I always found that curious and highly coded, and it was. Oh, that's so pretty. When I had a vision, it was so beautiful. This quasar. Well, they didn't say it was a quasar. I just saw all this light. It was so pretty. And it was like the Bethlehem star. It was so pretty. And it was this hushed Christmas. And it was like April. Hushed Christmas feel. And like I had my most favorite Christmas thing on. I was like, oh my God, this is so holy. Oh. And then they said, the Son of Antares is born. Alrighty then. I got 10 minutes till I gotta go upstairs and deal with all that shit. Better find a book, better write this down. It wasn't like that. They kept giving me dictation. It was really, really loud, really super loud. And I had to write it down. They were really pushy about it. And I did. I wrote it down, and then they had me, you know, like underline score or whatever. The Son of Antares is born. With that star, it was so pretty. It's so holy. and so quiet and peaceful, really cold. Oh, December night, so still, so holy. Ooh, I can deal with that. And that's a little bit more abstract than saying, yeah, let me talk about this Jesus life. No, I don't want to, actually. You got one video out of it, right? And a ton of them that talk about it. Ton of them. All obscured and quiet like. But in amnesia, you know, then you channel, right? And there's still stuff that I could channel, and they'd still come through with that voice. They're my mama. They'll always be there. The one that led me to doing that shift that night, the one that led me out into the parking lot, the one that held me while I tried to make sense of all of this. So happy, so feeling so blessed, so wonderful. And then just on fire to go check to see what a quasar is and look at all the pictures. And as I'm scrolling, I get sadder and sadder, and I started to cry because I knew there wouldn't be a picture of what I just saw. It's like, oh shit. Shit. So then when I had that activation, it was like the final one to get the chakras going and to spin them nice and pretty. I had one of those, and I smelled roses, because that's the one thing I want to do is have a superpower so I can like emit odors whenever I want to. Pine smell, or I don't know, vanilla, curry, turkey dinner. There was one there for like every night for, I don't know, about a year and a half. Every night. I thought, wow, somebody in this apartment building, somebody on this floor lives so good. Somebody's freaking preparing this kind of meal every night. Yeah, I was like that. Yeah, you Dorcas. That was us. Isn't that nice? That was you. That's how thankful you were. That's how blessed you felt. That's how non-defended you were, and that's how celebrating you were in that time. That's why. I already do it. Doy. That's the thing. You gotta bring it under your will. And I don't know how. Oh, and my sister, long ago, she said, hey, when you're channeling, yeah, you're full on channel because you don't know that shit. I said, I know. Isn't that nice? Isn't that the best news you've heard all week? Whew, what a relief, huh? It isn't me. She said, you'd have to read so many books. You'd have to know so much shit. You don't know that shit. Yeah, I know, Mary. Isn't that cool? Yay! Yahoo! That was like the certification I needed. And then she told me that she, this is about emitting odors. She told me that one night she wanted to listen to one of my recordings. And she put it on, and there was this really strong smell. It wasn't bad, but it was super, super strong. And so strong that she just really couldn't take it. She finally figured out it was the tape, so she stopped it. And the smell went away. She was trying to get to bed, you know? And then she gets settled again and starts playing it again. There's that smell. You tell me, I don't know. So, I don't know, maybe I already have that one. Whee! But it sure would be nice to be able to, you know, conjure and emit on will. I think that's the next part, figuring out how to do that. And first you got to believe you can. And in part that has to do with evidence of things that are past. The only time, it's really, I think it's important to realize that if you're going to use your past, you got to remember there is really no past or future. It is all happening right now. So what you do affects the future, it affects the past, but oftentimes what's affecting you the most is the future. And you're being called toward the future. And most of what we do is resist it because we don't like change and we fear change. And then we'll probably put ourselves in the positions that we most fear to examine where our heart really lies. A lot of us have gone through that, have you? Has your environment changed or your relationships, have they changed? The outer circumstances, the only thing is if that is the focus, to always be out, and to be doing. Never thinking, never feeling, doing and accomplishing and achieving. That also is something that, will begin to start disintegrating or amplifying. And in that case, that's super great if that's your, where you're at. The idea is to have the facade and the back end be in coordination, so that there's authenticity and truth and integrity with all behavior. And that means sometimes that the goals we set in a less mature awareness. And these goals, while highly valid and perhaps very coveted, no longer no longer suit you. And the thing is that when that happens, what do? You can have a big fight. But doesn't that just prove that there's a problem? Unless you get hooked on, there is a neurochemical addiction of that's the abuse cycle of going too far, knowing you're going too far, hurting someone you love, and then them forgiving you, and the swell of compassion and the swell of self-hatred and then self-acceptance is itself a drug. And okay, do that then. But it's something that it's another one that I got a big dose of that one. I lived in it for many months. And people were going, how are you managing, hanging in there? And it was straight up, it was like, whew, nothing I've ever but I got to see. And so I think for me, I've heard near-death experience people talking about this energy that caused them problems. There was a lady who was a court reporter, and she had to quit her job because she said that after the NDE, there was this energy. And she called it, I think she called it the ick, or the ew, or I think it was the ick. And it's really, really heavy in courtrooms and in the legal system. It's like really, really oppressive. And so she had to leave. Another one describes it in millibels. And he sees how much light you do have. That's what he focuses on. Because he can read someone's millibels, the light quotient. And then he can steer them to nutrients and affirmations and things like that. He's really, really, really great. And I see it simply as resistance, argument, pain, complaint. If these things are strong, then there's just a lot of resistance. Doesn't mean it's a bad person, but they're resistant. And if it's one of those things that it just never ends, it's an addiction. It's not karmic, it's a fucking addiction. And, the idea was that we would come in and we'd break this cycle, because the abuse cycle was super strong in the agrarian culture. And then when there was a shift to cities, it continued. But it changed. And there were a lot of us who came in to stop it. And you don't stop it in the moment, you stop it with a generation of children who don't resonate with being treated that way and won't have it. So I think that's, kind of what we've done, and it's a great project, and it's super great. There's a lot of what the first waivers did. A lot of us were more willing to couple up and get married. That's the second wave. They're not quite as willing to merge personalities with another. And this next generation, holy shit. Relationships taking a brand new tone. And there's none of that coded. Oh, it's different. So it's a very interesting dynamic to watch. And it's a very interesting dynamic for me, who's an elder, and my son to get along. Whew. But we're catching on to each other. So what I've learned are some things that I guess should have been self-evident. But I was really headstrong and, kind of tormented. All right, give you some credit. I'm an artiste, okay? A struggling, minimized giant. Let's put it that way. You never play good. You never play well in your hometown. And unfortunately, I put roots down. Fuck. So, yeah, we're gonna travel is very high on the priority list as things progress, and the way that air people or passengers are being treated, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of air travel, but I hope to see some distant friends and connect with people that I know on Facebook in a more personal way, because that's become a kind of a high priority to connect with people and move it along. So that's kind of nice. So there are a lot of things that I could riff on, and nothing I really want to say except that there's a lot that is already here, and I do have something to say. There's been this false flag kind of idea, and I don't know if it's a false flag. See, that's the thing. Right now the alarms go off, so I'm going to go ahead and say this. On the 22nd, there was a news alert that went across Southern California. And I think it was a transmission from someone who escaped 51. There are people who are aware of what's going on, and it is very dire, and sometimes they make it on air, but they're followed. And for them to have been able to make that kind of transmission is astounding. And it talks about the same stuff as a lot of conspiracy theorists talk about. So the content of it was not disputed on the radio shows and the TV shows that I saw. It wasn't discussed. But it talked about an alien race coming and offering solutions and to not fall for it. What have I been saying over and over and over and over again? What ascension will look like? That's what I said, like in 12. It's a whole bunch of people who've been knocked around a whole lot, or who just never fit in, one of the two, and have found their way. And they're star seeds. They're implants into the system. And we came, again and again, but now we're all here. And we incarnated in bands. And the bands within the generations are waking up. And that's causing quite a stir for those who are not keyed for these events and this much energy. Because the thing is that the energy itself is just like floating around. You're getting some of it. I mean, if you're breathing in and out, you're getting photons and all kinds of yummy stuff. But you hang out with one of us who are activated, and things start happening for you sometimes. Depends. That's the idea behind ascension. And I just keep seeing this guy in a car taking the Hampton route onto I-25, and he spills his coffee. What does that ascended master do? He just looks at it and laughs. Yep. It's not freaking aliens. That bothered me, that idea that aliens are going to come from outer space, land on the White House lawn, and crack out the chest of gold. Right. Because the message there is, you humans are so fucking stupid you can't even figure this out. I guess we have to come down and do this for you, you turds. That's the message behind that. Don't you get that? This is about self-empowerment. This is about waking up from a dream of disempowerment, of abuse of power, the dismissal of the sacred, the holy, the divine, the feminine. That's changing. And, the dark has last gasp, it says. And some of it's kind of nasty. Really nasty. And may very well involve a deus ex machina that appears legit. So that's where the discernment comes in. That's where the fake news comes in. Maybe it's training you to think things through. You think? It's not all just, oh my God, everything is awful. There's a reason for everything. There's something going on in Antarctica, and it's not good, but it'll come out. Oh my God. Just give Mueller time. It's so big. It's big. Then watch the cognitive dissonance. Then watch the propaganda. Then watch the violence, because those people are not going to be able to take it at first. That's why I've been talking about cognitive dissonance so much. Once you find out the truth of something, what someone is really up to, what they're really planning all along, and how you were conned. Ooh, and what's at stake and what you've already lost as a result of just believing something you shouldn't have. And you look at that and go, well, the scales fell from my eyes. When I was a child, I spake as a child. Resistance becoming self-aware. Very interesting concept. So for me, it's a matter of just, picking the vibration, and just I don't like arguing. I'm not going to go there. If I need to defend a position or explain myself to you, I don't know. I mean, I'm not that combative. I'm just like, oh, give me more, give me more, give me more, with love, right? But there are some people that just want to do that, and no, that's okay, bye. I was like that, I think. Ooh, what a change. Oh my, what a change. There's a lot to appreciate. There's a lot to kind of get to know again. There's a lot to dismiss is no longer, the directive. And just freaking relax into it. How about that? And I guess I feel like this is a valid thing, because I think that the whole idea behind this was to really be able to embody Christ consciousness, right? I mean, isn't that the idea? Why am I sitting here feeling freaking guilty about it then? I guess because it's so personal. I guess if I hadn't seen his freaking horoscope, it just kind of floors me. It's just, ugh. It's not a carbon copy, and when I looked at it, I was looking for Sun with Pluto retrograde and North Node. That's all I wanted. Something very simple. And the first profile, the perfect hit was Jesus's. And I looked at it, and he's got 3 little things that go up, boing, boing, boing. What? Oh, that's quite the geometry. That would be easy to, and that's what I thought. That would be easy to locate. That wouldn't be that hard because it's very unusual. And then I looked at mine and thought, okay, well, there you go. That's pretty laid out what's going to happen there. Yikes. Yeah. All right, let her rip. And, I mean, you can lay them on top of one another. His is much prettier, though. And so, I mean, there's that, and there's all kinds of other fucking shit. It's just too much. It's just like, oh, I can finally cop to this. But I honestly think this is probably the last tape I'll ever talk about it. It's not good to talk about, obviously. I'm glad I've got, that's why I kept saying, Enrique, please look at my chart. It doesn't really matter all that much, does it? It's a lifetime. Shit, it's a lifetime. What about the lifetime of being a Pleiadian mother here? And coupling with a human being with an incarnate Pleiadian soul. And creating, therefore being able to allow the biology to accept what's going on. And then creating a baby. What do you think of that? That's another lifetime. The one where I was a priest and I fucked with somebody's head. It was just so, it was wicked. It was so evil. I was so awful. Oh my. And one where I was a teacher and went off and left my mama to an unhappy fate, I thought, and I had to come back with stories. But my camel broke, and I died in the desert, and I felt really guilty about that. And then I finally met Mama, and she said, no, you don't understand. That's what love is. You wouldn't have been whole had you stayed. And I won't think twice about what happens to me. I'm so happy for you. I mean, it's what has to happen. That floored me. Whoa. Okay. That's really neat. Wow. So I've got a lot of them. And, you know, how many do you need? They come when I need them. And I know there's a lot of Celtic stuff. And, oh, there's these beautiful stones in France that are embedded. And it looks like it's very chaotic and doesn't have a pattern. But the truth of the matter is it explains geometry. It has geometry in it. It has math in it. It's just beautiful. It's like in the instructions. And when I saw it on video the first time, that's what it usually hits when I see something brand new. And I don't listen to the yakety yak. Sometimes I do. But I remembered. I mean, we all went there, and we put our energy into the stones so that they would thrum forever. That's not a vibration that ever stops. And so we filled ourselves with the things that you need to fill yourself with to do that, and filled the stones as we laid them. That's why there's that weird field. I remembered all of that. It was so much fun. And that's the old people who remembered that stuff because there had been the flood and everything. There were still old people. The old knowledge was still there. Lemurian stuff. Yeah. It's all laid out. I mean, There are nodes and nulls all over the planet that have time capsules that get that, and Crayon's team open them one by one, and now there's many, many, many that are open. They're open with the Lemurian choir, which I took part in and learned how to tone. And for the first time in my life, there was a part of me that was finally at peace. Even as a girl, I would cry. I would get so sad and frustrated that I couldn't make tones with my body. I wanted to make two tones, but I wanted to do it with my body. And I would just, I was so mad at this body for not being able to do that because it's so satisfying. And then I was in that choir and, it felt really good. You can tone to keep warm, tone to do many, 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 many things. Many things. Toning is very powerful. So the old knowledge is still here, and that's what's cracking open. These nulls and nodes all over energetically are going pew. And it's not a time capsule where crap was kept there for a million years and it's finally being revealed. Some of that's happening, some artifacts, but no, it's knowledge. And it's in real time. It's connected to the stars. We're being communicated with from the stars through these nodes and nulls, more than ever before. There's a lot that's been going on esoterically that the general population doesn't know about, that we've been doing on our own because we knew it was time. A whole band of us who spent, I would say, probably 2 years doing emotional clearing for the collective. And it required, bathroom time sometimes, and being in situations that were very, very conflicted, and some that required a lot of emotion that was surprising, and situations that I would never find myself in, but then dealing with them. Wisely, sagely, beautifully, thereby breaking it for all. But I didn't do that by not feeling it. I felt everything. And a lot of us did. Matt Kahn talked about it. And he said, when do you get done healing for the collective? Is it go on forever? Holy crap, this sucks. And it kind of did. And for me, it's been less emotionally chaotic for a little while. And that's really nice to gain some, because it was just so much there for a while that had to get delivered, so to speak. And now it's just really, it just feels better. And I feel more able to do the things in front of me and willing. And in real Technicolor living, breathing participation. Isn't that nice? And just really being okay with this process. I really doubted that it was the right thing to do. I was afraid I was hurting people, especially a friend of mine who I had a conflict with, and I think some of the things sounded as if I was pissed at him still. But there were so many other things that were coming up. Holy God. And, we all have our issues. We all have our limits. So, I don't know, I feel really, really happy, centered, and different. I feel like it's Christmas Day. I really do. I feel like it's Christmas. And an egg sandwich sounds like, it sounds like lyricism. Open face. Ooh, with butter toast. Oh. Doesn't that sound fantastic? And I don't know, I might even griddle up some French toast for a side. Ooh. Just the little things. Oh, I'm talking about food. I must be done. So I was thinking, okay, now how does this go? How does this next part go? Well, I got to take care of my health, obviously. That comes first. But I think that I would be a very good person to hire to come talk to you, to your groups, if you're interested in that kind of thing. Just talking about ascension. You know, we can get all Judeo-Christian on it, or we could get all like scientific on it, or we could get experiential and talk about it. And that's what I'm going to start doing. I missed my payment. Once things stabilize a little bit, I need to start a meetup group. Finally, again, I had one called "Let's Talk About Ascension," and then I screwed up and didn't stay put for when they'd visit, and I wasn't ready. I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. Was it a mistake to try? Nope. I learned a lot. Most of all, I learned I still want to do it. But now I can do it better, because I learned some things. And I'm more responsible now. A little bit more serious, but I think that's more just out of respect for the process or whatever. You know what I mean? But a good sense of humor is really important. And I did say I'd like to do a group. This is one of the visions I got. I'm going to close with telling you some of the visions. I was told that, okay, well, here's would be a really fun thing. You and I could see this large, like convention style channel thing. And the cost of admission is a pittance. And then, but you have to, on a slip of paper provided, you bring your own pen if you want, don't matter. You write the one thing that's breaking your heart or burning your soul or fucking you up, or that you're super scared of, or that you know is going to happen that you don't want to have happen, or your hugest question, whatever. Get down to brass tacks. Put it in a bowl or a box or whatever. No one's going to take them and look at them. And then they come up to the stage, and that's where I'm at. And I sit with them. And soon enough, I start talking. The box may never get opened even. We begin. Because we can tell from the box what the energy is and what it needs. And how we can help both collectively and individually. So that's done. It doesn't take any time, but it's nice to have it set. And I can see the light beings that are assisting, and it's very pretty. Obviously, not all the questions can be answered. What matters is running the energy and speaking love and respect. And, information might be new. And dipping in and asking a question, well, that's nice. Every prayer is heard. Every prayer is answered. The energetics happen first. How it comes about, how it's dealt with, that's up to you. It's based on potential, and it's based on will, choice, always. But, always hitting self-destruct, well, if that's your path, that's your path. But, there are some who just miraculously come out of that. All right, so one of the other, so they said, well, your writing is like a fingerprint. It's very obvious. And so there might be imitators, but it won't be any question whether you're writing something or not. It's going to be really obvious. I saw many things, but I don't even know if that was this lifetime. But I did see being a kid, and I was in a room, and there was a spindly kind of bookshelf, and on it were my volumes, the Deeply Awake volumes, and they were down low enough I could get at them when I was little. And so I know I got to get those out. That's sort of like job one. I also saw me on stage, taking the stage to Mama Said, and lights and action and like an explosion of good fucking feelings of freedom and the right to exist and the right to express any way you want. And we're gonna talk high fucking consciousness. We're gonna blow the doors off of your consciousness. Are you ready? Like that. And one techno-color, wonderful music, all purposeful, all picked out, and how it flows. Woo! It's quite a ticket. And I saw a book series and then an HBO series, which makes perfect sense. It's more of a screenplay than it is just a short story. I saw lots of things. I got like 4 novels in the chute. I'm kind of focused on my health right now. And not really that, but my disability. But I think that really, if you took a really objective look at it, you'd be shocked at how functional and mobile I am, considering what is at play. It's going to be another one of those, holy crap, she did that? I was getting ready today, and I was remembering what was told to me, and it sort of became the mantra of my life, actually, in a way. Those desert years. When I went to them whining, why am I so fat? Why is it so hard for me to relate to people? Why do I have a strong love of whiskey? Why am I so fucked up? Why? Why, Mommy, why? And they said, well, it's so that people can look at you and say, oh, well, if she can do it, so can I. And I heard that and thought, really? Well, that's a ticket then. I can do anything I fucking want to. Anything. If it's for somebody else to learn, all right, well then, yeehaw. Because that's what I wanted as a nurse. When reluctantly I was packing my bag for nursing school and tucking in there this collaged, it was a collage of, it was very, very meticulous and very beautiful. Of all the things I thought I was at that time, it was very beautiful. Because I didn't want to forget that, all that artsy-fartsy shit, when I went off to nursing school. And I tacked it right where I studied. And I reminded myself of how fucking cool I was, surrounded by people who really were, different than me. And so I remember packing that bag and kind of being told, well, you can't really get better experience in being a nurse. And I certainly wasn't ready to write. The things I was writing were immature. What better way to experience life? What better way to understand? Because you have to understand before you can write about it. And you'll be able to see it all. You can go anywhere. You can travel anywhere. The world just opened up. you're free. And I really was. I just had things that dogged me. But they're done now. Resolved. So that's nice. That's the kind of the idea. That's the idea. To finish up one lifetime and begin another while you're in the same body. So that's what pisses me off. If I have something really like that's going to kill me, then fuck. I fucked up the experiment. So that's why I gotta figure this thing out. That's why I have Medicaid. And that's why I kind of take, personally, this murderous, cynical, quote unquote, health care bill. Oh my God. Wow. Can you get any more genocidal, you fucks? And the sheep will go, I don't like the color of his tie, and his politics are really bad. They just threatened, like, the lives of how many people? The livelihoods of how many people? And we're showing them respect? We're calling them sir? They should be out on their ears for even considering such a thing. And yet we're all just going, It's kind of sickening. I hope people wake up pretty soon. It's nasty. I've heard some people say it this strongly, but come on. This is like 9/11, believing that the towers fell because of planes. Fuck that shit. It was a demolition. And this isn't repealing Obamacare. This is genocide. This is attempted genocide. Call fact a fact. Look at the numbers. Get real. And just you wait till Mueller comes along. Oh my God. The lid's going to come off. I can't wait. All right, well, I'm just riffing, and I know it's kind of indulgent, and at this point, I don't care. I don't care. If you don't want to listen, then you don't listen. One way or the other is fine with me. And I'm finally figuring out, I just go where the arguing stops. I go where there's no criticism. It feels really super great. And that means I gotta get rid of it in me. And I had a bad case of it. But I had people show me the way. Yay. That's all I have to say. There's something weird going on outside. Namaste.